Good morning, Toots. Little talk about radiation measurements and folks that just don't want to get it. The best way to look and see what a radiation fallout map looks like is go to safecast.org and their radiation map. If you go to Japan and zoom in or zoom out and look at Japan, you could pretty safely say there's large parts of Japan that are abnormal. Now, Safecast, the way their meters are used, are reading almost pure gamma energies. They don't read alpha and betas. If you go back to my little worksheet on how to figure dosimetry, that can mean an error in dosimetry of thousands of measures difference. So if you take a pure gamma radiation dosimetry reading in a mixed media environment, your meter is lying to you, or the person using it is lying to you. This is the challenge of radiation measurements. So if that map doesn't show you abnormal, if you can't see where the plume and the fallout from Fukushima landed from that map with simple Geiger counters, simple proven Geiger counters, then you don't understand radioactive decay, radioactive particles. They have a lifetime. From a science conversational standpoint, it takes 7 of those half-lives for a meaningful amount of radiation to decay. A half-life can be seconds, milliseconds, microseconds, or it can be thousands or millions of years. If you have billions of these decaying particles decaying for thousands of years, you have a risk. Period. So, using dosimetry from Safecast, I argue with using the readings for mapping exactly as is done with the same consistent meter type is hugely important. So that Safecast map matches some of the plumes that were published during the event, because we knew which way the wind was blowing. We knew marginally what was coming out of those reactors. Very few people knew. Very few people are able to say, holy shit, this is bad, and mean it. Any nuclear jerk that claims dosimetry from a Geiger counter is possibly very misleading you by orders of magnitude in the thousands. That little worksheet unfinished gives you a hint. It was meant for folks to go play with and try to put some math together behind it to see what the difference between a pure gamma and, say, a 50% gamma, 50% alpha beta mix. This comes from knowing what the release inventory is, or from going out with the proper instruments and finding out the radiation in the area for real. This is spectrometry, not Geiger-Muller counters. It's a much more sophisticated science, much harder to understand, and yet some folks do. So half-lives, huge word in nuclear decay properties. Release inventory, huge word in figuring out the release and the dispersion across a nation. Those things matter. We do this level of science. For people to negate, why do we even bother to measure this stuff if it's so safe? So yeah, you take your supposed degrees, you take your depth of knowledge, And what, you stopped learning? You stopped trying to figure out the rest of the pieces in this puzzle that go together? It's called life. It's called an aspect of life that few people can stomach or understand or not get shaken over. Because these are nuclear weapons. These are nuclear weapons we're talking about as commercial reactors. We have salesmen selling small modular reactors. How a bundle of 12 small modular reactors is not more dangerous, possibly, than one single large reactor is a good debate point. Now, the argument is the safety and controls that are done, because they've invented a whole new world, a whole new level and layer of very intelligent controls for these things. I wrote these controls. I'm not that intelligent. Shit happens. And yet, folks make excuses. If you've got a friggin' degree in this, you better come up with it better than you have been, folks. And the folks that know won't come and play because the conversations are tough, detailed, and deadly. That's nuclear. If you see a nuclear salesman, he's selling you cigarettes too. I smoke cigarettes. Shame on me. Peace out, folks. Don't put up with these nonsensical characters other than to check out their line of reasoning, see where they're coming from. Why would they? And all these folks are so shady and skinny in the background that you can't tell what the fuck they really are. So that's why my real name is on this goddamn videos. Meme that. Peace out. Love. No nukes. And no apologies.